And we are live. Thank you everyone for joining us today.
Hello.
I'm here with David Catching from Rancho de la Luna. And today we're gonna be doing a little bit of touring around the recording studio and just chatting with him. Submit all your questions to that question button, like we said. We're excited to have you, and feel free to chime in on the chat box too and introduce yourselves. Tell us where you're tuning in from. We love hearing where are people coming from to our events. So let us know.
I like that
Now,
too.
before we begin, oh, sorry, what was that?
I said I like that too.
Yes, exactly. We all like it. Now, before we officially begin, I just want to take a moment to respectfully acknowledge the indigenous peoples who have stewarded the lands we are on for time immemorial. So in Joshua Tree, the Mojave, Cahuilla, Serrano, and Chemehuevi peoples, and in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I'm from, the Jicarilla, Apache, and the Pueblo people. Now, this event wouldn't be possible without the support from the Desert Institute. And for those of you who are new to the Desert Institute, they are the branch of the Joshua Tree National Park Association that is dedicated to bringing educational, cultural, artistic programs to the field within Joshua Tree National Park and its surrounding public lands. Now, of course, our field became the virtual field because of COVID. So we're also excited because that, in a way, that has allowed us to reach more people than we would have if we were to be just in the field, or if we would have like an actual event, for example, at Rancho, right? So thank you everyone who's coming. If you are able to, please donate. There's a little button on the screen if you're tuning in from Crowdcast. If you're on the joshuatree.org website, there's a donate button at the top menu. It's super easy and we appreciate it. And if you cannot donate, we appreciate you a lot, and you could just tell your friends about our programming, and that helps us all the same. Okay, so the live rules. It's pretty simple. We just ask that everyone is nice in the chat. If you have questions, because the chat can move really fast, please use that question button because that helps us also, answer them in an organized way. So we appreciate that. In case we get disconnected, technology, we depend on it, but we cannot fully trust it. So if we do get disconnected, please wait and bear with us. You can refresh your browser. We'll be doing troubleshooting on our end, and we promise you that we'll get back on as soon as possible. And if you want to see our replay, there will be replay available on our YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to share that with you at the end of the presentation so that you can go and see other events as well as a replay on this one, so you can share with your friends and family as well. Okay, so David is here with us, and I just want to read a little bit about him just so that we're all on the same page and we're not confused about which David we're talking to today. So David Catching was born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1961, and he started playing guitar and studying recording engineering around 1976. He began playing music in live clubs in 1978 and touring in 1981. His first trip to Los Angeles to play a show was in 1982, and on the way there, the band decided to swing through Joshua Tree National Monument, and he fell in love with the desert and its uniquely beautiful landscape. David moved to LA in 1985, occasionally revisiting Joshua Tree for day trips and camping. David met Fred Drake at a recording session in Hollywood in 1989, and they immediately became great friends. Fred Drake moved to Joshua Tree in 1992, and David frequently visited Drake in Joshua Tree to enjoy the beauty of the desert. In 1993, the duo founded Rancho de la Luna recording studio in Fred's home in Joshua Tree. And they also started the band Earthlings, who continued to release albums and tour. In 2002, Fred sadly passed away. But today, David lives and operates Rancho de la Luna studio at the same location where it was started. And the studio has hosted sessions with a diverse selection of musicians and bands, such as um, Daniel Lanois, Iggy Pop, Arctic Monkeys, Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters, and many others. David has contributed to albums and toured with Earthlings, Queens of the Stone Age, Eagles of Death Metal, Masters of Reality, and many, many others. So thanks for being here with us today, David. And
Thanks for having me again. I had a really nice time yesterday and got to see some of my old friends. Well, not see, but hear from them. That was nice.
Totally. So I'm going to minimize myself so we can get a better view of you and then of Rancho as we start moving around. I just want to see, maybe hear from the chat, see where everyone's coming from. Atlanta, Canada, UK, staying up late. Thank you.
Cool.
Very cool. Austin.
I think I see one of my collaborators, Dan Silver, on here. Is that you, Dan, under Silver? I'm not sure. He comes to the studio, and we've written a lot of music together and worked on a lot of sessions. Hi from Boston.
Cool. Oh yeah, I think that's him because he said, "Hey, buddy."
He's a very talented man, that Dan Silver.
Nice. Well, we can also, if people are open to it, we can also invite people from the audience to come on camera in case you want to bring someone to tell a story at some point or anything like that.
Wow, I'd like that. That way it can take a little pressure off of me because I'm not a big motor mouth myself.
Let's do it. We'll eventually, watch out, friends of David. We'll eventually bring you on.
All right, on.
Okay, so why don't we start with a couple of the questions that that people have submitted here. So the first one is, do you guys mix your albums at Rancho de la Luna or just do the recording there?
Well, we just do the recording. We don't press the albums or CDs or tapes or whatever people use these days. But we do write, record, mix, and master. So we do everything other than actually physically produce whatever you listen to it. But yeah, we do.
Cool. Okay, as a non-native desert dweller, how well did you adapt to it? What is one thing you like and dislike about the desert?
I don't really dislike anything about the desert, and I love everything about it. I see our friend Adrian joined us. She was very, very good friends with Fred, and I think she might have come out with him the time that he found Rancho. I'm not sure, Adrian. We might have to bring you on and talk about that. But they came to see their friend. He had a place out here. He passed away, and they came to visit his place, the Hobie Chobi, which she still has today. So maybe she'll tell a little bit about her first trips out here with Fred, because I was friends with Fred in LA, but I didn't come out here with him for the first few times he was coming out here. I came a little later. But back to the question, I love
oh, got it. Yeah.
I love the weather. I love the stars. I love the landscape. I love the flowering of everything. I love the people out here. I love the vibe that it creates out here when you're here. It's very inspiring. That's why a lot of people love coming out here. It's you can focus on music and take in all the inspiration. So it's really nice. It's really nice out here. So yeah, I don't dislike anything about it, honestly. I'm not a hater.
Yeah, yeah, I would say I'm biased too. I don't dislike anything about the desert. Maybe the hottest day of the year would be something to dislike, but
it's pretty toasty right now. I think it's 106 today, so it will get a little warmer, but we've had a pretty mild summer so far. And I have the swamp cooler, which is,
oh yeah,
where is it? I can't, that thing that my finger's pointing at. So that keeps it cool in here. And then I've got our vicious, the vicious guard dog, Bertha Lou. She's watching the front door right now.
Wow, she's working really hard.
Yeah, she works really hard here. She's had a rough day, you know.
I could tell.
Ah,
Okay, so let's go through a couple more of these questions, and then we can head into the tour of the studio, and we'll have more time for questions at the end for sure. So
okay.
let's see. Would love to know how you get such a great drum sound in a room that looks like it will be awful for drums.
That is a good question. Fred was an extremely great drummer, and we tried many different places around the studio, and we still record in different rooms. We'll record in the living room sometimes. Sometimes we'll take the bed out of the bedroom, but and we'll go outside and record things. But for some reason, that room really has a very, very cool drum sound that a lot of people love. I love it. Typically, when unless I have someone in that especially wants to try different things, it's always mic'd up and ready to go. I get a lot of sessions from like kids or people that don't have much of a budget and they only have a day or two to record. And so we have to do as much as we can, as quickly as we can. And that's one of the tricks, is to keep it mic'd up where we know it sounds really good and work around that. I mean, people want different things, but we typically over mic everything so that you can strip away if you want, or keep things sounding big. And that's one of my favorite things about the studio, is that it's always ready to go. I keep it like that because when my friends like Dan or any of my bands are here, we can just immediately start recording. It doesn't take much of a setup. So that being said, we just found a drum kit that we love. It was a friend of Fred's that had the drum kit, and when he passed away, we inherited it. And Fred put a lot of love into the drum kit, and we kind of found the spot in there for it, and it pretty much stays in that spot unless people are looking for a completely different drum sound. So that's a kind of a long answer to that question, but that's kind of what's going on.
Cool. No, that's really cool, because you had to like experiment around, and now you know your place. So
Yeah, that's one. You know, like I said, we it's fun to take them outside. We can't go as late as we used to. There is a nearby apartment complex. I mean, it's not nearby. It's close enough to where you can't really play drums all night outside.
okay.
But it is fun to take drums outside and have people play out there. And sometimes we'll do 2 or 3 drum sets at the same time. And then that's why we do a lot of the drums outside as well, because it's not the hugest space ever. Hi,
Nice.
man. St. Louis.
Cool. So how do you select which bands, musicians to record at Rancho?
Oh, I don't select that at all. Other than my own bands and my friends when we're out and hanging out, because I have a lot of friends that love to come out here and visit. But anyone is welcome to come here. I don't make it exclusive at all. It's, you know, if I haven't really had that many bands ask that I couldn't accommodate. You know, if anything, it wasn't quite the right spot for them, or maybe it was a little more expensive than they had the money for. But I don't discriminate against any band, because you can't really. I can't really say if someone's great or not. You know, some of my favorite bands are not the most prolific songwriters or the best musicians, but they still create a sound that I love. And I always keep that in the back of my mind, that anybody can write a great song, and even if they're not the best musicians, they can execute a great song. And it all comes down to everyone working together to make that happen.
That's nice. Thanks for sharing that. What are you working on lately, and which projects are you most excited about?
Well, unfortunately, since March, I've only been working on bands that I'm involved in. So I've been working on a follow-up to my solo record, which is going to be mostly instrumentals, music for hopefully for films and commercials and whatever. And then we just finished the new Mojave Lords album, which is a band I have with Bingo Ritchie and some other friends, Barrett Martin, Jonathan Hischke, Gene Troutman, Chris Goss. A lot of good friends jump in and play on those records. But Bingo and I, we also started a mezcal label and a record label. So we've been finishing that. That's going to be our second release. We're going to re-release my solo record, which is called Shared Hallucinations Part 1. And that will be the first release. And that's coming out this week. And then as soon as we can, we're going to have the new Mojave Lords album, which is called Expensive Feelings. And then as soon as we finish the new Earthlings album, that's going to be the third release. And then we're going to put all those together with all the discographies of all of those bands and start with that. And then we're going to get into some releasing some records that were recorded here. We want to try to keep it all in-house and, just kind of release records for people that don't have a label, but that recorded here. Cool. So the mezcal, I see someone asked, the mezcal is called Rancho de la Luna Mezcal, and the record label is Rancho de la Luna Records. And they asked where to buy the mezcal, and it will be imported in about 2 weeks. And if you check out ranchomezcal.com, it will tell you where you can buy it, what states it'll be available in, what stores you can get it in those, or where you can have it delivered.
Awesome. And I just posted those on the chat. So with a link to ranchodelaluna.com. Will everything be linked from that website as well?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, both of those are perfect. That's a great place for people to, there'll definitely be links, as well as links to all our friends and family as well on the Rancho de la Luna site.
Awesome. Well, it's right there on the chat. So
yeah.
Oh, this is a fun question. Do you think the high desert is a dangerous place?
I think it can be, for sure. I don't find it extremely dangerous, but I think a lot of places are as dangerous as you make it. I was always told, don't go into the bad parts of town, whatever that meant. And whenever I did, I didn't find that it was that bad. It was just sort of a myth that some people have created to scare you, I guess. I guess a lot of people like to rule by fear or whatever. But I mean, obviously there are poisonous insects and snakes here. When you're hiking, if you're not hydrated enough, that can be a really big problem. And we've lost people out here to dehydration. Not here, but in the desert. And you just have to watch yourself and be very careful. I've been very lucky. I've only seen a few rattlesnakes out here, and for the most part, everything dangerous, animal or insect wise, is really not looking for you. It's actually looking to get away from you as fast as possible. So there are some pretty crazy people out here. Yeah, that can be dangerous. There are some, there's some meth houses here, and there's some pretty wacky people that have moved out here and maybe sat in the sun a little too long. But it's definitely no more dangerous than anywhere else I've ever been. I feel a lot safer anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's normally people who bring most of the dangers. So
exactly, that's exactly it.
You don't have that big of a population. Yeah. Okay, let's go through the next two questions, and we can start on the tours. And recording sessions that felt really exciting but have yet to be released for whatever reason.
Are there sessions that, I'm sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit.
Sure. Have there been any bands or recording sessions that felt really exciting but have not been released for some reason?
Oh yeah. So many. There's some friends of mine from Italy have a band called Them Bulls, and they're old friends of mine. The drummer's an old friend of mine, and they're these kids, and they made a really great record. We actually did the whole record in 2.5 days, and that hasn't come out yet that I know of. our friends Mean Heat made an album that was really cool here, and that's kind of, they've been working on getting that out. A band called Dirty Cakes recorded here not too long ago. A friend.
Oh, hold. I think we lost your sound. Okay, let's see. Oh, can you say something?
Hello.
Oh, you're back. Wait.
Oh, I saw like
it keeps muting for some weird reason.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I think we're back.
Am I back now? I did see a muted microphone. I did not touch anything, so I'm not sure.
Me neither. I just unmuted it. So you were responding to that question about the different exciting things that aren't yet released. Yeah,
I was saying some friends of mine from Italy. I don't know if you heard that. They're called Them Bulls, and we did an album. My great friend and one of my busiest engineers is John Russo. He does a lot of sessions with me, as well as Hayden Scott and Dan Silver and Christopher Thorne, my next door neighbor. We do a lot of stuff together. But John and I did Them Bulls album in 2.5 days. They came really prepared, and we just ran through it. That's a really cool album. Our friends Mean Heat, they finished their record. They're hoping to put it out on Rancho de la Luna Records. Dirty Cakes is a band that was just in not too long ago. We had started on the new Desert Sessions in January, but we had to stop for a minute to do some other stuff, and then I guess that's going to be a while before that continues now. But yeah, everything I work on here is very exciting to me. I nothing more than anything. It's all really great. It's all really nice people that are excited to be here, and it's really fun. It's the best job because it's really fun to chase sounds and try to put things together so that it sounds as good as possible, as fast as possible. But like I said, most people, in the old days, up until the 2000s, you could get a $500,000, $1 million budget to make a record. And now people are pulling out their, lawn cutting money and, their jobs, working their jobs double time so they can make a little bit of money to make records. So people don't have a lot of time. So we try to do it as fast as possible and as good as we can. But yeah, everything's exciting.
Nice. Yeah, everyone is asking about Desert Sessions. Seems like I've been missing out on this Desert Sessions. I looked them up after our talk yesterday. I was like, this is rad. Like I just need to now go through all the volumes.
Oh yeah. They're really fun because that's the one session where it's a lot of people that have never played together that get together to write, and Joshua Homme really picks some of his favorite musicians, and he tries to make it so that they would they don't know each other and they will have to write because they're only here for a week or two. And so those are really fun, and it's fun to see people, because when you're a band, people come ready, they've got their songs, they know what they want to do. With this, people are turning on different things. At the last Desert Sessions that got released, I turned on a drum machine and programmed a little drum machine, and the next thing you know, it was a song. And that's kind of how those things go, where people turn on some of the gear that's here. They don't bring a lot of their own stuff. They just kind of use the stuff that's here. But yeah, we started another one in January, but a few things happened where it got started for a minute, but they're going to restart as soon as we can get back into it.
Good to know. Well, keep us posted. Do you have a newsletter or something like that, David?
I don't. I think people kind of just check in here and there. Maybe that's something that we should consider on the website.
Maybe.
I don't know how to do that stuff. That's up to my partners, William and Bingo, and those are the guys that know how to do stuff. I'm good at cooking and cleaning and hosting. That's my strong suit.
Nice. Well, yeah, put the idea out there for them, because maybe that'll be an easy way to kind of keep up with all, because I feel like you're doing so many things in so many realms, and it'll be cool to have like a one place where we can all stay updated with it.
I think I'll take your suggestion and run with that.
Go for it. Okay. Oh, and cookbook.
Oh yeah, we've actually just been talking about that because we do have recipes for our mezcal on ranchomezcal.com. We got a lot of our friends together to come up with some really cool drinks for us. So we do have that going, but we're going to have an actual cookbook, because everyone that comes here, right now I'm actually sitting in the kitchen. So the kitchen is right in the middle of the studio, and we cook all the time. We're cooking breakfast and lunch and dinner all the time here. We have an outdoor grill. We have a big green egg. So mostly people don't really go out and eat. We used to go grab pizzas from Pie for the People, but now they're closed. And we go to Sam's and have some of the great Indian food, because that's awesome. And those guys are great. And the Thai place. And there's so many great restaurants out here. La Copine is amazing, but a lot of times people don't have much time, like I was saying. So they just bring groceries in the morning, and we cook all day and take turns eating when someone's got a break. So that's what we're doing there. Nice.
Yeah, it'll be great to have the cookbook. It can be paired with some music.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what we were talking about, the drink with the music and the food.
Nice. Great idea. I totally support it. Especially because I'm biased. I really like mezcal. So
me too. Ours is the best. It really is the best.
I gotta try it.
I'll get you some as soon. We should have it. I'm hoping it'll be here in the next 3 weeks on the shelves.
Awesome.
We'll see what the getting it over the border is, because it's all bottled and ready.
We'll see that. Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so last question before we go around the studio. It's from Adrian, actually. She says the Joshua Tree area has changed so much since all started coming out. Can you talk a bit about the impact of the discovery of the area, both positive and negative, on the Rancho's evolution?
I don't think it's had that much impact on the Rancho. You and I talked briefly about this yesterday when Adrian and Fred and I were coming out a long time ago. Maybe I think we were talking about, someone could correct me because I'm not really sure. I've never really looked at the numbers, but I think it was closer to 60 to 70,000 people per year to come to the monument, as it was called then. And this year they were expecting 3 million people in the park. And I think last year it was up to over 2 million, and it was going to turn over. So that has definitely changed the way things work here. Also, when we moved out here, things were really, really cheap. You could get a really cool house on 5 acres for, if you wanted to rent it, maybe $350 a month. And if you wanted to buy a little shack on 5 acres, it was 50,000. And now that's tripled everywhere, especially in Joshua Tree. You can't really, I look for houses for friends of mine a lot, and I don't typically see anything under 150,000. And that's kind of in like a neighborhood here. The places with acres or near the park they've gone up a lot. It's definitely brought money into the area. I would assume, with 2 million people coming in a year. I still see the Sam's is still here, and the Thai restaurant is still here. Those are places that have been here for a while, so that's kept them in business. Some places have gone in and out. The saloon's still here. That's been here the whole time I've been around. Country Kitchen is one of the greats. It's it's been here for a while. So it is not U2's fault. I see that.
It is not. It's actually Instagram's fault, but
Yeah, I think so. Probably Instagram's. But yeah, the place. I mean, it's the the saloon, Sam's, Country Kitchen, and Royal Siam. Those are the 4 places that have been here the whole time, and that's been since at least '92.
wow.
But I've seen Yucca Valley grow a little bit. But we also talked about this yesterday, how population-wise it doesn't seem to have grown, because it seems like, or construction, it seems like people have bought all the shacks and fixed those up and are using them as Airbnbs.
Right.
And most people that are out here are part-timers. But then there's a few folks like me that live out here full-time, but there are a lot of part-timers and Airbnbs. So I don't know if that's positive or negative. At the time, there were only 2 hotels. The High Desert Motel and Joshua Tree Inn were both open, and they're still open. Now there's a couple of other ones, but mostly people come and stay at Airbnbs. So I don't know if that's great or bad or not. A few of my friends have them, and they made them very cool, and I think that's cool. It seems like everybody that's doing them makes them really nice so that there's cool places for people to stay. I welcome people out here. I fell in love with it, so I wouldn't see why other people wouldn't want to love it and be out here as much as possible, especially when it's so close to LA, because people in LA have houses or apartments that are $2,000 that are small, and they need a place to get out of there, Big Bear, the desert, wherever, some place to get out and get a little space for their heads. But maybe we can get Adrienne on here later to see what she thinks about that too, and talk a little bit about Fred.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Adrienne, don't go anywhere. we'll be back. We'll be back for you in a few. So, David, do you want to go? Well, let me just say, if anybody has any other questions, just submit them to that little ask a question button there. And David, why don't you take us around the studio, okay, and then we can come back and chat a little more with the questions.
All right. Well, when you come in, you have to watch for Bertha, because she's pretty vicious. But when you come in, that's the front door, and that's the view from the front door. And then this is, I'm hopefully going to be able to show you everything while I'm looking from this side. But this is kind of like their turntable and some keyboards and some outboard gear and a guitar. And then this is the console. So this is what we typically record on. Those are the speakers we listen to the mixes on. And the console I've had for quite a while now. John Russo rebuilt the whole thing for me and built this whole area over here. So I got to thank him all the time, because he's always, I think without him, I wouldn't have a studio, because he knows how to fix everything. So to the right of the console, you kind of have some of the instruments that are around. I'll kind of take you around. This is the keyboard room that also has guitars in it. So I have a lot of cool keyboards that are fun to play with. I've got a lot of friends at different companies that are very helpful, that give me discounts or give me things to try out so that people can use them here. So I'm very, very lucky that way.
Nice.
A friend of mine gave me this beautiful neon Rancho de la Luna.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. Is it showing backwards for some reason?
No, you may see it backwards, but I mean,
Okay.
at least I am seeing it fine. I don't think it's, because I know sometimes with the lives it looks mirrored, but it looks fine on my end.
This is a poster. I went to see this show in New Orleans. That was Al Green in 1994.
Wow.
Here's some more keyboards, and some things that I got at the swap meet. The swap meet in Yucca Valley is really awesome. So we have like lots of weird art and toys. Here's more guitars and keyboards, and then we have closets that have more
keyboards.
Just in case, up here, there's all the nooks and crannies have instruments. More keyboards here. More stuff in the closets. My friend Dave Hansen painted this crazy alien painting for me. My friend Barbara Cohen took that photo and gave it to Fred because he was a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And someone else gave Fred, that's a painting of his horse Cashmere, who was here. Cashmere passed away a little after Fred, unfortunately.
Wow.
And then we have some more keyboards here that we use, a nice Mellotron that gives you all sorts of crazy strings and horns and great sounds. And a Moog synthesizer, which is always good. And this is just a regular USB-ish keyboard that you can plug in and make it pretty much anything, as well as other keyboards. And this is my pedal board. I don't know if you can see it.
Wow, yeah.
But that's kind of what I use. I have a lot of friends that make these amazing pedals. This is a Earthquaker Devices Sun O pedal, Jim Dunlop wah, a Univibe, Earthquaker Devices plumes, and Dispatch Master. My friend Dr. No made this awesome Colossus, which is I love. And Solid Gold Effects made the Lysis, which is a cool effect. Maleko made this Delay, and TC Electronics made the Helix, and Big Shot made the Splitter. And then this is really cool. This is a pedal that my friend Dr. No and I did together. It's called the Roadrunner, named after my Roadrunner friend's buddy. And has a little story about me and the studio on the bottom, but it's flocked red, white, and blue.
Nice. Is that just you guys just made one of those?
No, he sells them on his company's called Dr. No.
Got it.
N-O.
N-O.
And then this is our waiting room couch when you're waiting to do your parts. And the Check Your Sex Appeal machine that I got at the swap meet in the 80s, which is cool. It comes in handy.
How much is it to check your sex appeal?
Wait, I'll take you outside because Buddy the Roadrunner is here right now. Buddy,
Ooh.
Buddy, come here. Come here. Can you see him over there?
Let's see. Maybe.
Buddy, come here. Oh, I don't know if you got to see him, but
no.
I thought he was going to make an appearance. He's usually not shy for some reason. But
he knows you're live with 30 other people and was like, no.
Yeah. He came by earlier and was hanging out, but then I saw him outside. But so in this corner, I don't know if you can see because it's kind of dark, but I have a bunch of acoustic guitars.
Yeah, it's brightening it up a little bit so we can
see if I can move it over here. So there's some. Here, some more guitars. Some I've had for a long time. Some I acquired at the swap meet. Some were given to me by guitar makers, which is very, very kind of them. Nice. Here's the kitchen. Got this is one of my prized possessions. Mr. Dick Dale signed that to Rancho de la Luna. They don't come any better. I love that.
Cool.
And that was cool. He was recorded here a few times before he passed away.
Nice.
More stuff from the swap meet above the sink. Little things to kind of get you inspired. the old stove that gets us going every morning and noon and night. Have a lot of cool things. This is my neighbor Brian O'Connor. He was in a movie called Where about werewolves.
Ooh.
We record a lot together. He writes a lot of the Mojave Lord songs. This is Slim and Maria. They owned Pioneer Town Bowl. They were some of my favorite people out here. They sold Pioneer Bowl a long, long time ago, maybe 2003 or 4, maybe.
Mm.
This is my friend O'Neill from the Saturn Bar in New Orleans. A fun guy. Yeah, this is so then you come into the tracking room. So we have a lot of bases over here in the corner, in case you need a base. A friend of mine made this. It looks like a book, but when you open it, let's see if I can open it with, you can see.
Uh-huh.
So there's something in there. It's my friend. His name's Rick Wilkinson, and it's DIY mics. So he teaches kids how to make microphones. He has a class.
What?
To make these beautiful microphones. And his brother made the books that they go in. And he also created this awesome tool for working on electronic stuff. It's a little thing for soldering. It's a little thing.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's really, really cool. He's a very, very cool guy. Rick Wilkinson, DIY mics. Check him out.
Yeah, I need to make one of those.
Yeah. So then we were supposed to do a class where we were going to do a class for autistic children to learn how to make some microphones, but that was going to happen in May, so we had to postpone it. I'm not sure. This is a piano that's been on a lot, if not all, of the sessions, and I can always tell because it has its own particular sound. So I can always hear it when it's on someone's album.
Yeah.
More guitars because you can never have enough. Lucky to have a couple of gold records from some friends on albums I helped make, which is great.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And my friend Bruce Zinke makes amps, so that's one of his. He doesn't make them anymore, so I have a couple of those that are really cool and rare. And my friend, they have this company called Hayden Amplifiers, which is great. They make Ashdown and Hayden. My friend CW is awesome artwork. He's a really cool guy that lives out here. And this is something I got from him a while back. More stuff from the swap meets. This is the band I'm starting with. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little too dark.
Let's see. Once you get closer, it will get revealed a little bit better. There we go.
My friends gave me that. That's a bobblehead of myself and Mark Lanigan, who I play with him sometimes and on his records. And it's a Bob 2 from Devo. But that's our new band. It's going to be a good one.
Yes, looks great.
And then this is kind of the drum area and some drum machines and microphones and more drums. And then this is the kit that we got from our friend.
Oh, nice.
And so this is the view that drummers have when they're in here. It's kind of a nice view and it's fun. So it sounds really nice in here. There's a loft up there. That's where I used to stay when Fred was living here. It's a cool place you can kind of crash out at night. So that's where I used to stay, and that's where friends stay sometimes.
Well, is that like a single bed kind of loft?
It is.
Wow.
It's a little funky up there right now. No one's used it for a while. Some more art from one of my favorites. This is a black velvet painting of San Francisco being attacked by UFOs.
For sure.
It's bound to happen, I guess. Now that they say there are some UFOs, it's another Zinke and a cool old Ampeg amp and my gold top Les Paul. And then you come in here, and this is kind of the bass room. So I have a few amplifiers in here.
Mm-hmm.
We can. This is really The bass and guitar rooms are good. I don't know if you can see. Is it too dark? No, you can kind of see.
No, we can see.
It's a little dark. But everything's set up so that you can go in between pretty easily. Bertha, you going to help us do the tour?
Yay.
She's a very, very good dog, this girl. And then you come back to the back room. And I don't know if you can see very much. I have all the lights on, but it doesn't seem to be very bright. But you come in and we have all the mics set up on a few different cabinets so you can move between the amps very quickly.
Wow.
Right, Bertha? she's my main helper right now. So we have lots of cool amps, and you can get a million different guitar tones right now, which is great.
Nice.
I got this from Leonard, who had Salvation Mountain. He's no longer with us either. He gave me this a long time ago. It used to be intact, but it's fallen over so many times it keeps falling apart. Here we have some tape from when we had the tape machine. We have lots of really cool old stuff. We have all the old Earthlings original stuff that we did. We have Franz Stahl from Wool. And we have some Kaya stuff, and we have like Fred Drake stuff. We have some Dave Grohl stuff that we did together with him a long time ago. We have a Scream reel there. We have some Gutter Twins. We have a few other things. Yeah, there's Fred Drake's album, which is great. So yeah, we still have some tapes, but we don't have a tape machine here anymore. Uh-oh, there goes my little Richard.
No, not again.
Box set. It's okay though. It just fell down. More stuff from the swap meets. All sorts of crazy stuff.
The number one helper.
The number one helper. My good friend, Miss Bertha Lou. What else should we show him, Bertha? So yeah, that's kind of the studio. There's not a whole. It's pretty small. I'll take you outside for a second.
Sure, but it's. I mean, you've really maximized that space because it's set up and you have so many options.
Yeah, can you see out here? This is This is the fire pit out here. It's a little dirty. I haven't spent a whole lot of time out here because it's been so hot. And we haven't had a lot of guests, so we have that. And then we have kind of the bar area. This is an outdoor place with a couple of keyboards. So if people want to play keyboards and hang out, that's where people can stay. And then we have a beautiful view out here. My friend and neighbor Hutch made us this really cool BB gun shooting gallery. So you can shoot like the little targets there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the chair cushions have seen better days. They're kind of beat up. But since I haven't had any people come to the studio, I didn't replace them this year. And we've got unfortunately, it's a little. I had some work done. The septic tank had to be replaced, so it's a little beat up out here.
Yeah.
But I've got a beehive going in the back that I have to move soon. They're a little. I don't know if you can see them buzzing around over there.
Not really, because it's not that sharp, but.
Well, yeah, I don't want to go too close because.
Nah, don't do it.
They're definitely buzzing around. But yeah, that's kind of the outdoor. So like I said, it's a little funky right now. But yeah, that's kind of it. I think I've lost my helper though. I'm gonna have to try to find her to bring her back in with me.
Oh, no. Yeah, bring her back.
Oh, she's at the front. She's fine. So I guess it's kind of the tour there. If anyone has any other questions, I can answer questions.
Yeah, there's been more questions.
This painting
questions coming, so we'll go through those.
This painting is done by my neighbor and friend Victoria Williams, who's an awesome musician and wonderful person. She did that for us.
Nice. Did you go to Sleep No More, or someone gave you that mask?
Oh, I played Sleep No More a couple of times with a couple of
No way.
Yeah, come on, Berber. Come on.
That's so fun. I've been like 3 times because I used to live in New York City.
It's so crazy. So this is the view from the front porch, which I love.
Nice.
Step on the front porch. Come on, girl. Good girl. That's our sign that Fred he commissioned. There was someone, I believe they were at the swap meet, and he commissioned someone to make that. So that's kind of the quick tour. There's not a whole lot to it. It's a very small place.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's well maximized. You know, you've set it up in a way that you can have all those instruments and all those amps and just ready to plug and play, pretty much.
Yeah, everything's ready to go. So when I can start having people back, we'll be ready to roll. Yeah,
well, thanks for showing us around. I'm gonna go down a couple of questions that people have been submitting here.
Okay.
So preface, sorry, nerdy mix engineering question.
Cool.
What are your thoughts on in the box versus out of the box when it comes to mixing?
Well, I like both. Unfortunately, it gets back to a matter of time. Most everything we do here is in the box. We can do mixes on the console, but it's so time consuming. Like I said, most bands don't have a big budget anymore. So you mix in the box because you can come back and change little things, even though it's just as easy to mix it and say, okay, that's it. But if you decide you want one thing changed, then it's pretty much impossible to go back unless you're doing it in the box. So if you have the time, it's great. But if you don't, it's just easier in the box, I think.
Nice. Any crazy stories about people?
About people? I don't know. I don't know if I can tell any crazy stories about people. No, most people are pretty cool. We did have one guy that recorded here, and he brought a lot of hallucinogens with him, and he had a kind of a rough time. I don't know if he's ever really come down. I wasn't around for that session myself, but I heard it got pretty crazy. It was a very, very bad trip for him. So luckily I wasn't around for that. But typically people
just having.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun, but I can't think of any crazy stories. Most people here are coming here to work and have fun, and it doesn't get so out there. If you know what I mean. They're a little more complicated.
Oh, nice. Do you still enjoy it the same as when you moved there?
I do. Yeah, I love it. I miss Fred a lot. That was the main reason I wanted to move out here. So I miss him. I feel him a lot when we're recording, especially when we're doing Earthlings stuff or something that's a little bit more psychedelic-y music. But yeah, I still love it here. I still have a lot of, like I said, a lot of my friends that I moved out here with are still here. So, and I have this beautiful place to make music. So yeah, I'll never get tired of that.
Cool. Which answers the next question. Do you live there full time?
Yes, I do.
Since when do you live? Since '93? Do you live there full time?
No, I did not. When I moved out here, I lived next door for a long time, and then I moved into the studio in 2004.
Got it. But in Joshua Tree since '93 or after that?
99.
99. Oh, 93 is when you guys started the studio.
Correct. Yeah.
And you got it. Cool. Do you have any button accordions, Hunter?
Do I have any accordions?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Accordions.
I do. It's an accordion that Fred got at the swap meet in like 96. We don't pull it out. I pulled it out for someone not too long ago, and a couple of the notes weren't quite working, but they used it, and it made it on the record, but a couple of things, it needs a little work. So if you come and you want to lay down accordion, you might want to bring your own, but we can use this one, and I'll tell you what notes aren't working.
You'll just skip those notes if you need them.
Exactly.
What's with the Arctic Monkeys thing on the wall?
The Arctic Monkeys thing, that was the gold record from the album they wrote here. It's called AM.
Pretty cool. What's your preferred mic to use on the drums?
I have a really, really cool microphone that our friend Dave Royer made us. And when he made it for us, he was a friend of Victoria Williams, who I showed you the painting first. And he made a really cool microphone for her. And we loved it so much when she was recording here that we asked him to make us one. And he did. And it's my favorite microphone that we have here. And he went on to create an industry standard microphone called the 121, the Royer 121. And then he started Mojave Audio with another good friend of ours, and they make some of the best mics, and they're just really, really cool guys. It's him and Dusty Wakeman. Dusty's a really great guy, great musician. Dave's a really awesome guy, and they've been very, very good friends, and they supported us a lot. But that's my favorite, my Royer tube prototype in Battleship Gray with a ammo case power supply.
Nice. Would you mind speaking technically about, oh, geez, where did the question go? Hold on. Oh, here. Would you mind speaking technically about how many inputs you can record at once and how you run sound from room to room?
We can run 32 channels at once. I have a 24 channel board, and I have 16 channels of preamps. Wait, not 16, I'm sorry. 12 channels of preamps. So we can definitely do that. We run a snake from the console to the tracking room, and then we have some other snakes going to the back room where the bass amps are, and another snake going to where the guitar amps are. So we can do 32 channels at once.
Cool. Top 3 records we should be listening to this summer.
The top 3 records. Well, you definitely Shared Hallucinations Part 1 and Mojave Lord's Expensive Feelings and Earthlings single that was just released on Last Hurrah. Those 3 for sure.
Cool.
I'll just plug those while I'm at it.
Do you have any advice for someone starting a studio of their own?
Don't do it. Don't do it. It never ends. It never ends. If I wouldn't have done this with Fred, I wouldn't have done it. And it's always something that you need. It's always something that you're repairing. But if you're going to do it, just go, start slow and just do what you need to do. And don't think that you have to have everything that everyone tells you have to, because what it boils down to is the song and the band and the talent behind it. Obviously it makes it great if you have every, I mean, I have so many cool things, but I don't have many, say, super desirable microphones that are 60, I don't have any microphones that are expensive. But microphones can get up to $50,000, $60,000. Certain effects can be $40,000, $50,000, and although they are great to have if you can afford it, it really boils down to the song and how you're recording it. So just don't get overly crazy. But I really wouldn't suggest starting a studio. It never ends.
So how does it compare, like the amount of equipment that you have today versus when you guys started?
Oh, so much more. So much more. When we started, we had a 24 channel board that was a Soundcraft board that we got from our friend Dean Chamberlain, and he had used it in the studio where I had first worked with Fred. So he'd probably had it for 5 years. I'm not sure if he bought it new or used. We had a few microphones he threw in with it, and a few older, inexpensive effects units. I think at the time I had 3 amplifiers that I owned and 4 or 5 guitars, maybe 4 guitars. Fred had a couple of amps and a guitar and a bass, and we ended up buying the piano soon afterwards. And then every session that we did, we would put at least half the money back into buying more gear, and that's what we've done. That's what I've done ever since. I've put at least half of what I make back into the studio. And then the other half is usually for repairs, which will never, it's at least one thing breaks every time you have a session, so you're always doing that. But yeah, I have so much. I've been very, very fortunate. So many people with different companies and guitar companies, pedal companies, microphone companies, they really like a lot of the music that's been here, and they've been very, very generous in contributing to things that are here. So many cool people. They've really made this place.
Nice. So do you have any like a best memory at Rancho?
So many. I mean, sitting in the hot tub with Fred and Pete, listening to Earthlings mixes when we first recorded the first time. And back then there was hardly anyone out here, so the stars were just out and beautiful. I remember when we were recording Caius and Fred, everybody was on mushrooms, and Fred decided to ride his horse Cashmere into the house just to mess with people. That was pretty funny. But so many, like every day here is memorable to me. I don't take anything for granted, and I love every minute I'm here.
Pretty cool. Do you ever do tours like regular people?
Do I what?
Do you ever do tours to like regular people?
No. Only because I get asked to do that all the time, and I would never get anything done. And the last thing when people are working here is like, hey, I'm going to show this person the studio. That might change at some point, but it's just it just happens too much. I have a lot of people that stop by uninvited, and it is always kind of a problem because when people are working, they're in a groove and they've got a thing going on, and it disturbs the whole moment.
No, that totally makes sense.
As much as I would love to, I hate coming across as kind of a jerk like that, but it just it doesn't quite work out.
I mean, it's a place of work, right? We don't go inside kitchens when the restaurant is open and serving.
Exactly.
just to pop in and see what's going on. So
exactly.
So I see that. Okay. There's a question about who is something that I cannot pronounce. So I'm just going to put it on the chat. I think this is from Desert Sessions.
Oh, yeah. That I cannot divulge. Next question.
Next question. Here we go.
It's probably who you think it is.
That's a great answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many Earthlings songs do you have from the 90s, and will they be released?
Well, yes, they will be. I mean, there are lots of songs that we're still working with. You know, I'm sure they will be released at some point. So I'd say yes and yes, there are.
Many and coming. Loved the Rancho de la Luna feature in Sonic Highways. Any plans to do more documentary films about the studio?
Maybe. I mean, I like I like doing things like this because since I can't take the time to bring people into the studio as much, at least you can kind of see what it's like. So this is my way of getting around bringing strangers in every day. I can kind of direct them to the videos like this, and they can check it out for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, and it's even more accessible in that way. You know, you're pretty transparent about everything that's going on, and
I try to be.
Yeah, and we don't have to go all the way to Joshua Tree to disrupt your business operations for that.
Very, very true.
Okay, so do you have advice for creating a cool hangout? Not necessarily music related, but just because your place has a soul and a vibe. So I think this is more like an interior design question.
I would say just try to fill it with love and bring everything you can that's good into it. Try to bring the best people into it, and try to do everything cool that you possibly can to make it fun and enjoyable by people that come in. We were really lucky when Fred first moved here. The swap meet, which is still great, but at the time, I mean, if you went there with $10, you could get a mid-century modern couch and lamp and a painting and a lighter and maybe a guitar for $10, you know, just depending on when you went, you know.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. I mean, you can still find some good thrifts, but definitely the prices have changed a lot.
Yeah, you know, there's a few great stores. There's Black Luck, that they're really great. I don't know if you've been there. That's a really cool store, and they're very reasonable there. Rachel is awesome, and the thrift stores you can hit occasionally, and they're still good, but it's not like it used to be. I mean, it was, you know, no one was. It's a timeline. You know, there's always times when people aren't looking for things and people don't want, and then later it becomes collectible because people bought the couch for $10 and now it's $1,000.
Yeah.
But I do see that Adrian wrote that she'd be happy to add a little, but she would rather not be on camera, but she would add a few things.
Yeah. Do you want to invite her on? You guys can talk some Fred stories.
I don't know how to do that, but if you
I'll invite her. Yeah, I can invite her in.
I would love that. I haven't spoken with her in a while. I love Adrian.
Yeah, and then Adrian, I think you can control like closing off your camera. Or you can give access to just your microphone. I think that's probably how it will work out. Okay, she's connecting, so we'll just wait for that. Really cool. Okay, maybe while she's loading, we can go to another question, which is, where do you see the studio in 5 or 10 years?
I think the studio will be exactly like it is. I think I've pretty much got everything I need at this point, and it doesn't really fit anymore. And I think I'll still be doing just the same thing, as having really nice people come out here and record music that hopefully everyone likes as much as I do, and will keep going exactly like we are. I mean, I couldn't be happier than how it is. So hopefully it'll stay the same, where it'll be inspiring for people and also for myself.
Cool. Do you smoke tobacco? American Spirit?
I do not.
And then you suggested not to start a studio, but also that you love every minute you're there. So why not encourage people to go for it just because it's such a risky business?
Yes. No, because it takes all your time, and it's very expensive. You know, everything you need is expensive. Like I said, I was very lucky that I was pulled in by Fred, who was a extremely cool and unique individual. And when we started the studio, our friend Dean Chamberlain sold us what gear we needed to start for very little. And then we had Daniel Lanois come to, and he left a bunch of really cool gear here for a year or so. So we were able to do some really bigger sessions and take that money and invest it back in, and then slowly keep adding stuff. But I don't know if I'd really discourage. I kind of discourage people just because it is an enormous amount of work, and you truly are you're always buying a cable or strings or tuning the piano, or so. I mean, if you feel like spending every bit of your money and never, I can't think of any time I've ever put money away from the studio and said like, oh my God, this is great, I have money in the bank, because it all goes right back into the studio. But I do love it, and I'm very fortunate that it's turned into the life that I have.
Thanks for that. That makes a lot of sense. I guess it comes down to if it's really what you want to do it. But if it's just
Absolutely.
a maybe or like a trend or just to appear or say, might as well not go that route.
And I say that jokingly too, like don't do it, but at the same time, really, do it for the right reasons. If you want to have a studio and you're not doing it for a business, if you're doing it for a lifestyle and something that you love doing, go for it. But if you're doing it for a business so that you can pay your bills, I've never paid my bills with the studio. I mean, I definitely have paid the bills, because that's where the money goes, is fixing things, paying utility bills and rent. So yeah, but if you're thinking of doing it so you can get rich or something, or buy a car, look at my car. It's the same car I've had 20 years, and it always needs work.
There you go. So Adrian is actually with us. Adrian, can you say something and see if we can hear you?
Sure. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Adrian, how are you? Thanks for joining us. That's so cool. That way people can really, everybody knows how much I love Fred, but it's good to have other people that can chime in.
Sure. I don't want to say a lot. You were pretty thorough, but I just thought I had a few things to add, just to add to the texture of the early Rancho history. I mean, first of all, someone asked who was the best cook, and for sure Dave, hands down, was always the best cook. I don't know if that's changed, but that was historic. I can't imagine it would have changed. So
thank you, Adrian.
And then I just wanted to say, like, it was when Fred was alive, the studio was also really open to all kinds of people. It wasn't just rock musicians. It was like filmmakers would come out, artists, performance artists, poets, like all different kinds of people were recording there. And it was a real thoroughfare, because there wasn't really so much the places that were open and you could hang out, like Crossroads and stuff. It was, we joked and said Fred was like the mayor of Joshua Tree. Essentially, if anyone came into the area, that was the first place they stopped to like find out what was going on. I mean, we were out there pre-internet, Yeah. So, so that was how you found out, like, what was going on, what people were up to, all of that. And the Rancho was like it was our the crossroads really for a lot of community. And I just wanted to add something that's really, I feel like is really important, is one of the reasons, or one of the main reasons why Fred ended up out there is he was gay, and he was HIV positive. And when he came out to the desert to visit one time with his friend Chrissy, they went up to the monument, and when they went back to LA, they had seen that his T cell count went way up, which was good. It was very low, and then it was very high after just a weekend in the desert. And he basically turned his car around and came right back here and was committed to living out here, because he knew it would be good for his health. And that was really important, his gay identity. And I just wanted to add that because a lot of rock and roll and stuff has changed a little bit, but really make that invisible, and part of the eccentricity and the coolness and the vibe and other things that were going on at the Rancho really came out of like Fred's unique style, that was part of his identity as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this place, I learned everything I know from Fred as far as the studio goes, as far as making the studio vibe. Of course, I can't make it as cool as Fred because Fred was the coolest, but I definitely learned everything I know about trying to make people feel comfortable and how to record from Fred. And you nailed it. It wasn't it was his home first and foremost, and then it was our playground for our recordings. But yeah, you're completely correct, as it was the first place everyone came. And at the time, it was just you, Fred, Victoria, John Perazzi, a handful of people that we knew that were out here.
Teddy and Tony.
Yeah, Teddy and Tony and all those guys. You're right. So it was a community meeting ground for sure, because there wasn't a lot to do out here then at all. Like even Pappy's was, the most people that were ever at Pappy's at the time were probably like a dozen, and that means if 7 of us went there, there were 5 people there.
Those are the main things. I mean, this, like, I don't want to get too nostalgic, but those things are really important to me to bring up. So
thank you so much for bringing that in, because there's so much I forget when I'm doing stuff like this, and it's really, that's when I saw that you were here. I wanted people to know, because I knew you could add some very, very cool pieces to the puzzle that a lot of people don't hear a lot.
And thanks for keeping the Rancho alive, Dave. It's a big deal. That's a real labor of love for sure. So
thank you so much, Adrian. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Adrian, and for sharing that part of the history. That was beautiful and lovely to know more. Do you have any memories at Rancho, Adrian, that you want to share before you hop out?
Oh my gosh, so many. Wow.
I know.
Now we're putting you on the spotlight.
Yeah, I guess one thing I'll just say, it's not as crazy wacky, but it goes with the deep, spirit and connection that we all had, is that Fred actually died in his home, and he was surrounded by all his friends, and his music was playing, and he was smoking a spliff, and it was a really good death. And I just want to say that because, now I'm actually a death doula. That's why I'm an artist, but I also do that work. And in part because I got to see and experience and like that incredible, just really being with someone, and what a sacred moment that can be. And Fred was really just an unbelievable, magical person. He manifests things out of thin air. He would say he wanted something or he needed something, and he would go for a walk in the desert and come back with it in his hand. So he was someone, in part because of his diagnosis, he lived every day really as if it was his last. He was very critically aware of that, even though he was a young man. And he brought people together, really amazing, talented, beautiful people together, and he really brought the best out in people. And what Dave said about the consummate hosting, I've learned a lot from that too. We can only, ever hope to live up to that, the beauty and magic that Fred was. He was also really ornery, so I don't mean to, he was a motherfucker sometimes, excuse my language, but, he was a real character and a very special person. And I'm just happy that the Rancho continues.
Yeah, thank you so much. That you nailed it so much. That's such a great story, because he did bring everyone together all the time, and it was always a really amazing selection of people too.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I'm gonna sign off.
Yeah, no worries.
Love you. Thank you
so much for tuning in, Adrian. That was That was awesome to be able to do that such impromptu way. Okay, so I think we're down to 4 more questions. Let's go through this and then let's wrap it up because I don't want to take up your whole afternoon. One says, who hasn't recorded at your studio yet that you'd love to have?
Oh, so many people. I'd love Nick Cave to come out here. I think he would like it a lot. Let's see. I don't know. I've had so many great friends record here. That's kind of putting me on the spot. I've been very lucky. Nick Cave's one that comes to mind immediately just because I love his music and I love the people in his band. I'm friends with some of the people in his band and they've been out here. So I think he would be a really great person to come out. Man, I don't know. There's so many great people.
Cool. Any interest in creating a new outdoor music venue in the high desert?
You cut out a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, let's do it again. Any interest in creating a new outdoor music venue in the high desert?
For me, no, because I love all the places that we have. Going to Pappy and Harriet's is amazing. That's my favorite place to be outside. Brant Bjork's been hosting some outdoor festivals that he puts on in different places that are really cool. We were supposed to do a little concert in the park, but that never really came to fruition. I'm not really sure why. But I think you know, we have the Joshua Tree Music Festival, which is cool. It's by the Dry Lake, and I think we've got it pretty much nailed. If somebody wants to do something, I'd be happy to help them. A concert promoter is definitely something I can't take on at this point. Although I do a lot of shows at Pappy and Harriet's because I do love the vibe there. People love going there. The food's great.
Great.
The owners are awesome. The drinks are amazing, and it's a really good gathering spot. And the Joshua Tree Music Festival is a great spot as well. So I'm happy to help anybody that wants to do that. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you because I ran into, I'm looking it up right now, but I can't find it. But I saw on Instagram that there was like a drive-in concert place in somewhere in the high desert.
Well, they were talking about doing some shows at the Smith's Ranch Drive-In, which is one of my favorite places out here. I don't know if you ever got a chance to go there.
I haven't, but I just found it on Instagram. I was like, what is this? How? I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's been there forever. You know, I think since the 50s probably. And it's an old drive-in. And they were talking about doing some, a friend of mine was talking about putting some shows on there because, you know, they've been doing like the drive-in socially distanced show. Mm-hmm. That was one place that they were talking about doing it.
Cool. Oh, there it is. Free drive-in concerts every weekend.
Oh, cool.
There's the link. That sounds great.
Very cool.
Okay. Oh, how about drive-up concerts at Rancho?
Probably not in the near future, but we'll maybe one day. I do want to do when we're coming up on the 30th anniversary. So maybe on the 30th anniversary we'll do something cool.
Nice. Keep us posted. Any budget mics that you recommend?
Yeah, there's so many good ones. I mean, Shure 57 and 58s, you got to have those. Those are cheap and they sound great on everything. Like I said, the Mojave Audio stuff is not super expensive. Who else makes some great ones? There's so many good ones. I'll have to look through my mic closet. All I can say is hit me up and I'll send you a gear list. You can hit me up at david@ranchodelaluna.com.
Awesome.
I'm so terrible at answering questions on the fly. Like if you sent me these questions in advance, I'd have all these awesome answers, but my mind goes blank when I'm put on the spot.
It's totally okay. I think we'll survive. But yeah, just note his. We can also type in your email at the end so people can get in touch if they have more,
Okay.
especially the technical questions. Because I know
Yeah.
those are like, okay, let me think about what you actually need, and
Yeah, exactly.
it might take a little more time. There's a great question coming up. Do you think California belongs to Mexico?
Well, I guess so. I mean, I guess you have to go back to where everything starts. What belongs where? It's all, that's a whole hugely critical thinking kind of question, because of course it was part of Mexico. What was it before? Yeah, let's not get political, because in this day and age, there is no right or wrong answer. If I say one thing, somebody's going to be mad. If I say something else, I think that I just think that maybe it's for whoever's here right now, and if I don't know, I don't even know how to describe how I feel about that.
There you go. And then someone just said California belongs to Earthlings.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I honestly do not think in countries. I'm not a nationalist kind of person. I'm a globalist. I guess I don't know if that's right thing to say now. Somebody's going to get mad. I think of us all as Earthlings, and we're on a tiny little spot. And I think that we're all sharing what resources we have. And it really is interesting to me that people think too much about separation of humans. It's something that really, really irks me, because we're all in this together, and we should be sharing it. We should be loving and sharing with everyone that's less fortunate.
Absolutely. Yes, one love.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Last question. Who is Lou Balls, the Goose King of Crater Lake?
That's another good question. You'd have to ask Jesse Hughes that. Jesse will tell you. And believe me, check out Jesse Hughes's Instagram. He does every day. He does some karaoke, and he will answer any question you throw at him. He loves talking to people.
Cool. What's his Instagram?
Father Badass.
Nice.
So, the Father Badass. Check that out. He will give you any answer to anything. He will even give you the other questions that you asked I couldn't say.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, geez, I think I misspelled it. Badass. Just two S's.
No, that's it. Yeah, the one. Yeah, that's it.
Just two S's. We don't need. Oh, we don't need all of that stuff. Okay, well, David, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for opening up your studio, your home, your stories, and your very hardworking dog.
She's working hard right now.
Thanks
everybody for tuning in. If you can, please donate, because anything can help at this point. It doesn't have to be a lot. Anything that you can afford is good, and it helps. And just try to help as many people as you can.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you everyone who joined us today. I'm just dropping David's email so that you can get in touch with him if you have more technical questions. Again, if you're able to donate, it really helps. It really helps us continuing our programming, pay our guest speakers, and do some marketing. So we really, really appreciate that. We have 2 more events in this round of Desert Live series. So if you are down to check out some surreal desert photography with Ellie Pritz next week, she'll be going live with us on, what date is that? On the 6th. Yeah, on the 6th at 4 p.m. PT. And then the following week, I'm going to be joined by a panel of athletes and outdoor advocates to talk about why leave no trace. So if you guys are up for that, you can sign up directly at joshuatree.org. Again, if you can donate, we appreciate it. If not, you share with your friends all our upcoming events. That's also appreciated. If you missed yesterday's interview with David, you can catch it at on Instagram on IGTV at JTNPA. And whew, I think that's it.
All right. Well, lots of love to everybody. Take care of your fellow man and try to make this a better place for everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm Gabachia, your host, and it was great to have you and see all your questions. Oh, we should probably reveal who has been to Rancho de la Luna, because we had that poll going from the beginning of the event. So me, 2 people have been, and then 11 people wish we have been.
Oh, nice. Who were the 2 people? Adrian?
Probably. We can't really see who said, but probably one of them was Adrian. And yeah, so thanks again for joining us, David. This was fabulous. And thank you, everyone from all over the world that joined today. The replay will be available. Done. So if you missed the beginning, you can tune in there.
Oh, good.
And yes, muchas gracias. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Ciao.